أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين ورضي الله تعالى عن السادة التابعين وعلماء العاملين وأئمة الأربعة المجتهدين ومقلديهم إلى يوم الدين. السلام عليكم. Alhamdulillah. You all know before Maghrib comes in, before Iftar, we have a brief reminder. But we have, alhamdulillah, we have a treat before we actually begin. We have a brother who's going to take Shahaadah. They are looking on. So what? Shahaadah. So what? Doom wanted me to give him a brief reminder before we actually do it, inshallah. Jalil. You already got the name. Named after a great rapper in history, Houdini. Rapper Jalil.
That was nice.
Alhamdulillah. You probably don't even know nothing about that. Alhamdulillah. Just a brief reminder about Islam. If you understand this, what I'm about to tell you, and always strive to get deeper and deeper into what I'm about to tell you, you'll be okay. The Prophet ﷺ said, Buni al-Islamu ala khams. The Islam is built upon 5 things. And he used a type of wording to indicate that basically this house, this way of life that we call Islam, there's 5 pillars, there's 5 things to hold this Islam up, to keep it in place. Once you have that in place, everything else is okay, inshallah. Everything else is secondary. And the first thing that he said was, Shahadati and la ilaha illallah and Muhammad Rasulullah, which means bearing witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. That's the first pillar. That's the Shahaadah. That's what you're about to do, inshallah. You're about to bear witness to something that's in your heart, but it doesn't stop there. Every day, every minute that you become Muslim, your understanding of what you're about to say gets deeper and stronger, and there's many, 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 many levels, inshallah. And I think the first thing to understand about this Shahaadah is the first sentence, which you're stating that there is no God but Allah, meaning there's no other entity or other object or worthy of worship. And one thing that Allah says about himself in the Quran, which is extremely important, he says about himself, Laysa kamithlihi shay, that there's nothing like him. And this is something that you're going to understand on levels deeper and deeper as you grow. In other words, anything that comes to your mind, Allah is other than that. So some people think Allah is male and a female. No, Allah created males and females. Allah is not a male or a female. Some people think Allah is a person. Some people think Allah is a spirit. Allah created people and spirits. Allah is not that. Allah, anything that you can remotely imagine, Allah created that. And Allah is not his creation, so Allah is different than that.
Why do we call Allah He and Him?
Because that's the way that he refers to himself in the Quran. He uses those type of masculine pronouns because we're limited based upon language. Human language, things have a gender. Him, her, whatever like that. So this is the way he refers to himself. If he referred to himself as her, she, we'd be saying her, she. But, he didn't. He referred to himself as him, her. And as a side note, in the Arabic language, those pronouns are used for inanimate things too. Him, her, like all of these things would be referred to as him or her. Because in Arabic, all things, whether they're human or animal or not, they have a pronoun, a masculine or a feminine pronoun. So it's just because of the limits of language. So there's nothing like unto Allah. And the second part of that statement is Muhammad Rasulullah. Muhammad is a messenger of Allah. In saying that, you understand that he's your number one top role model, because Allah revealed the final revelation to him, and he lived it and taught it to us. So the best way to worship Allah is the way he showed us and the way he taught us. Likewise, anything that the Prophet ﷺ told us, we believe that it's true, and anything that he told us was bad, we believe it's bad. Anything he told us is good, we believe that it's good. And because of the time period that we live in, I think it's also important to say in connection with that, that anyone who claims to be a prophet after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have to know that that person is a liar and that that person is evil, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself told us, more importantly, Allah told us in the Quran, but secondarily, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that there will be no prophets or messengers after him. So if someone comes and says that they're a prophet or a messenger, either they're lying or the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is lying. And by us hearing you about to take Shahaadah, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke the absolute truth. So anyone who contradicts him is automatically a liar. The second pillar is the establishment of the Salat. And I'm sure these things you know already because you've been around us a lot and everything like that. But the establishment of the 5 prayers, the minimum of 5 prayers that are made at certain times. You have to learn about those things and know how to perfect those things and establish those things, those prayers. The third pillar is the payment of zakat, which is basically, you know how in this society every year you got to file your income tax, and then when you file it, you either get back or you have to pay some money. Really, zakat is really similar. Zakat is, a lot of people say charity is really not charity. Charity is sadaqah. It's something you give for your own free will. But to be Muslim, you have to have your yearly savings evaluated. And after it's evaluated, either you are owed some money or you have to pay some money. And even if you have to pay some money, it's like 0.5 of your yearly savings after your annual expenses, which is really nothing. And then the fourth pillar is Sawm, which is fasting the month of Ramadan, which we're doing now. We're in the middle of the month of Ramadan. And so this is when we stay away from eating, drinking, and romantic relations with our husbands or wives during the daylight hours. And we do that for the whole month of Ramadan. And Ramadan is the 9th month on a lunar calendar, which is also the Islamic calendar. And so the months on a lunar calendar can either be 29 or 30 days. So the fasting month can always be 29 or 30 days. And it's based upon the sighting of the moon. And the fifth pillar is making Hajj or pilgrimage to Allah's house, the first masjid, which is located in Mecca, in the modern country of Saudi Arabia. The country of Saudi Arabia didn't exist at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, but the Kaaba, the house of the first masjid, did. And so the Prophet ﷺ said, Hajj al-Bayt nistata'ta alayhi sabila, if you have the ability to do so. Not all people have the ability to make Hajj. Some people, they never have enough money. Or like the Sheikh that we follow, Sheikh Uthman Dan Fodio, may Allah envelop him in His mercy. He never had the ability to make Hajj because he was always fighting physically the disbelievers for his entire life. So he was never able to break free in order to establish the pilgrimage. So he didn't have the ability to do so. And so those are the 5 pillars. Like I said, I just gave you a summary But all of these things are very, very, very deep. And once you get strong and rooted in those, your Islam will become stronger, inshallah. You have any questions before we go further? You like still ready to do it?
What about the 6 articles?
The 6 articles of faith, yeah. Shukran for the reminder. The 6 articles of faith is really a breakdown or a deeper understanding of what you're about to bear witness to, that first pillar, the Shahaadah. And the 6 articles of faith is belief in Allah, belief in His angels, belief in His books, belief in His prophets and messengers, belief in the hereafter, and belief in Allah's divine decree. It's good and it's bad. So, we mentioned a little bit about belief in Allah, certain things. Belief in the angels. Angels are creatures that Allah created. And they only do what Allah commanded that be done. Angels have different jobs. They bring revelations. They give you good advice, even though a lot of times we're not aware of it. We think it's just a good idea that we had, but a lot of times it's the angels that are putting these good ideas in our hearts. Angels protect us from harm. A lot of times we don't know it, but a lot of times we could be walking right into something that's very destructive, and an angel will protect us from it. So angels have many different jobs. Belief in his books. Allah revealed books to different prophets, the last of which being Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the book revealed to him is the Quran. Now we believe that Allah sent these other books, but like Allah says in the Quran, these books have been corrupted by people because Allah left the responsibility to maintain and preserve and to pass on these books to the scholars that were with the other prophets. But unlike those other books, the Quran, Allah promises in the Quran that He Himself will protect it, unlike the other books. So we believe Allah sent those other books to those prophets, but we also believe that those books have since forth been corrupted. We believe that He sent them. We believe that they're divine revelations, but we also believe that they no longer exist in their pure form. We believe some remnants of it may exist in what we now call the Bible. And so we don't, when it comes to books like the Bible, we don't reject all of it and we don't deny all of it. We judge it based upon whatever's consistent with the Quran. Belief in His prophets and messengers. We believe that Allah sent 124,000 prophets, and 313 of them were messengers. The difference between messengers and prophets is, to keep it simple, all messengers were prophets, but those messengers were given laws, were given ways to live specific to them and their communities. And so, just like we have marriage laws, we have dietary laws, all prophets had their own laws, and they changed from one prophet to the next. And our prophet was given a law, it's called Sharia, and it supersedes all other laws that came before it. So we believe that Allah sent these prophets. We don't know all of their names. 124,000 of them, we don't know their names. We know very few of their names. Belief in the Day of Judgment. Yom Al-Qiyamah. Wa alaikum salam.
I brought some food, brother. My mother sent some food.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
Can I ask one of the brothers to help me?
Sure, please. Alhamdulillah. Shukran. Alhamdulillah. The Day of Judgment. The day, Yom Al-Qiyamah, Yom Al-Akhirah, those things that happen after this life. And included in that is after we die, even though it ain't Day of Judgment yet, but it's the Day of Judgment for us as individuals when we die. The Prophet ﷺ told us certain things are going to happen to us when we die, and certain things are going to happen when Allah destroys and recreates this world and has us all stand for judgment. And after the judgment, heaven and hell, all of these things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam informed us about, we believe in those things. These things are called the sam'iyat. It comes from the word sama'ah, which means to hear. And the only reason why we know about these things is because we heard about them through our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the last article of faith is qadr, Allah's divine decree. Some people call it fate. And Allah's divine decree is that, Allah, and this is something that no human intellect will understand, but I'll summarize it by saying that, because some people say, well, if it was Allah's divine decree, why should I even strive to do good or even strive to do anything? Just Allah decreed it already. And what you have to understand is that because Allah's Al-Alim, Allah's the all-knowing. Remember how we said that Allah is different from His creation? Allah also created time. So with Allah, there's no past, present, future. It's all the same with Allah. And so what Allah had written, what we were all going to do. And because Allah had it written, that don't mean that we're forced to do it because Allah wrote it. Allah had it written based upon His infinite knowledge. He knew what we were going to choose to do. And this is called ikhtiyar. This is called choice. We all have a choice to do good, bad, or what have you. And so Allah written that we would have a choice. Allah written that the choices we would make. Not that a lot of people misunderstand, be like, well, it was written, so that means I have to do what was written. No, you have to do what you choose. But Allah already knew what you were going to choose, and Allah had that written. You understand the subtle difference? And so, Allah's divine decree. One example of this is this is during the time, after the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there was a ta'un, there was a plague. We understand this kind of stuff now, quarantine. They didn't have no stuff called quarantine now. If you have a plague or a major sickness breakout, the first thing they do is lock it down, create a quarantine. Make sure whoever's there where this disease or this plague broke out, make sure that they cannot leave. Why? So they won't infect no one else. And make sure that whoever's not there, make sure that they can't come in, so they won't get infected. Right? There's no such thing as that at the time. And so, there was a plague in Syria. And they were on their way to Syria, the Shahaadah. And so Umar bin al-Khattab stopped. And he said, what should we do? Right? The Prophet ﷺ had spoke on it already, but those companions that were there, they weren't familiar with what he said. So they said, well, what should we do? And then so they took advice, and so Umar said, we're going to stop here, we're going to turn around. Then one of the other companions said, what, you running from the decree of Allah? Meaning, well, why are you going to turn around? If it's decreed for us to get sick, then we get sick. If it's decreed for us to not get sick, we won't get sick. It shouldn't matter if we go to the place where it has a plague or not. And so Umar said, we're running from the decree of Allah to the decree of Allah. In other words, he's giving them your understanding of Allah's qadr is kind of weak. Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. If Allah gives us the ability to turn around, that's also in the decree of Allah. Right? And then I believe it was Abdurrahman ibn Auf who came and says, I heard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say that if you're in a place and a plague breaks out, do not leave it. And if you're outside of that place and a plague breaks out, do not enter it. And so then Umar says, see, there you have it. If we're not there, then we turn it around. So I just mentioned that story just to give you understanding of Allah's divine decree. And really, no human being can really understand it at its essence because it's beyond human capacity to understand. But we believe in it, and it's good and it's bad. So these are the 6 articles of faith that your father mentioned, inshallah. And again, just like we've been saying, I'm just summarizing these things to you. I'm not even really scratching the surface. All of these things get deeper and deeper. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you a very deep understanding and practice of these articles of faith and these 5 pillars. I mean, so you ready still? Alhamdulillah. So I want you to repeat after me, inshallah.
Do you want to come closer or it doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter. Come close. So maybe the internet world can hear you as well, inshallah. I'm going to say it in Arabic. It's only necessary to do it one time, but we're going to do it 3 times, inshallah. And I'm going to try to break it down, so whatever I say, just repeat after me and say it loud enough so everyone can hear you, inshallah. Okay. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. What you just said 3 times was, I bear witness that there is no God except Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is a messenger of Allah. And what you did is called Shahaadah. Alhamdulillah. I got a question for you. How many brothers you have? 2? No, you don't. You got like 1.5 billion brothers now. And the reason why I say that is because Allah says in the Quran that the believers are the brothers. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. And so you, my brother, even more so than my blood brother. My blood brother not Muslim, right? So you, my brother, more than him. And this is the way we see you. Alhamdulillah. Takbir. 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 Alhamdulillah. Welcome your brother, even though you already know him already. Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, everybody who's listening or watching on Facebook and later YouTube, make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless Brother Jalil to be a strong believer, and that he live and die on the path of Al-Islam. And make dua for us, because you're more pure than all of us. Because the Prophet ﷺ said that Islam wipes away everything that came before it, meaning all of the evil that came before it. So make dua for us, inshallah. Your dua is better than all of us, inshallah. So that was our thoughts for today. Everything that I had ready, we do it tomorrow, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum.